All right, so we are going to go through this example. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 65% of young people killed in traffic accidents were not wearing a seatbelt. In 2001, a total of 3,322 teens were killed in motor vehicle accidents. Because many of these deaths could have been prevented by the use of seatbelts, Massachusetts began a Click It or Ticket campaign. Overall use in Massachusetts quickly increased, with the goal of surpassing the national average of 82%. Recently, a local newspaper reported that a roadblock resulted in 23 tickets to drivers who were unbelted out of 134 stopped for inspection. Does this provide evidence that the goal of over 82% compliance was met? Use a confidence interval to state a conclusion. Right? So this question that we have here, typically, if we see provides evidence that, we would be thinking of a hypothesis test, but we are very careful readers and we see that it says use a confidence interval. So I'm going to show you how you can use a confidence interval to check this. Now, if it doesn't say use a confidence interval, you're really expected to be doing this with a full hypothesis test. But because they asked, we're going to do it. So to start, we need our hypotheses. Our null hypothesis is that P is going to be equal to what? Well, we want to see if they are going to reach that goal. So I know there's a lot of numbers in here, but really it's that 82%. This is your P naught, okay? So null hypothesis is that P is equal to 0.82. Where, what does P represent? P is the true proportion of belted drivers in Massachusetts. Okay, then our alternative, what are we really trying to show? That the goal of over 82% compliance was met. So our alternative would be that P is greater than 0.82. And now that we know about alpha levels, when you are writing your hypotheses, it's expected that you are giving an alpha level. We want to give the alpha level before we start, because if you wait until the very end and you already see what your p-value is before you choose an alpha, well, then you could just make your alpha whatever you want to get the results that you want. And that's not really an honest way to go about it. If an alpha level is not stated, we usually just use 0.05. Again, we're trying to make the graders' lives easier by using common things like 0.05. Just like we normally use 95% confidence. But let's talk about that. The question says to make a confidence interval. So if my alpha is 0.05, and how many tails does this test have? One tail. Then let's figure out what confidence interval level we're going to have. You do not need to show the work for this when you're doing an open response question. But I like to just draw the picture. Here, we'll do a little quick sketch. Ready? Here we go. My confidence interval we know is in the middle. This is a one-tailed test with an alpha of 0.05. So over here, that's my 0.05, which means I also have 0.05 over here that I don't want to include, leaving me 90% left over. So I'm going to have a 90% confidence interval as I go through this problem. But as you have learned, if we want to create a confidence interval, we have to check conditions. So let's do it, starting with the independence assumption. And then the randomization condition. Is this a random sample? You're going to go skim that paragraph, see if it says anything about this being a random sample. Does it? No, it does not. Not stated to be random, but we will assume it is representative of the population. Okay? Remember, we're not assuming it's random, we're assuming it's representative. Next is the 10% condition. What is our sample size? be careful. It says, recently a local newspaper reported that a roadblock resulted in 23 tickets of drivers who were unbelted out of 134. That's the sample size. These things that they told me at the beginning, I don't care about them. That's extra background information I don't need, okay? My sample size is 134. Do you think that's less than 10% of the population, which would be all local drivers? Yeah. All drivers in Massachusetts. And if you're like, I don't remember what the population is, remember you defined the population proportion up here, so that should be your reminder of what that is, okay? Sample size assumption. What condition do we check here for the sample size assumption? We're going to check success failure, but be careful. We need to check the right one. We're making a confidence interval. Am I going to use P naught to check this? No, I'm checking P hat. NP hat equals 134 times. Oh, wait. I don't even know what P hat is. We didn't find it yet. Let's see. P hat. It says, recently a local newspaper reported that a roadblock resulted in 23 tickets to drivers who were unbelted. But I said that P is the true proportion of belted drivers. So 134 minus those 23 people out of 134 comes out to 111 over 134, or 0.828. Okay, that's the P hat that we're using here. But I will caution you here. We know that it's just 111. And we know that 1 and 1 minus P hat was just 23. Right, those 23 unbelted people. You could just write that as long as you're labeling it. It's fine. Both of these are greater than 10. And because they are values from the sample, we have at least 10 successes and 10 failures. Okay, and because all the conditions passed, we can say, okay, to use the normal model. And remember, we're making a confidence interval here, so a 1 proportion Z interval. If it was a hypothesis test, we'd say Z test, but this is a confidence interval. Okay, how do we find a confidence interval for proportions? We need our formula, P hat plus or minus Z star times the standard error of P hat. Okay, P hat we had found to be 0.828 plus or minus. What's our confidence interval level? 90%. So this is going to be 1.645. If you didn't know that, remember you can use inverse normal in your calculator to figure it out. Okay? Standard error of P hat is your P hat, 1 minus P hat over N. Take the square root, plug that stuff in. It comes out to 0.033. Okay, so if you multiply that together, you get 0.054. So your confidence interval is 0.774 to 0.882. What does that mean? We are 90% confident that the true proportion of belted drivers in Massachusetts is between 77.4% and 88.2%. So, If this just asked for a confidence interval, we would be done. But the question had said, does this provide evidence that the goal of over 82% compliance was met? What do you think? Is this strong enough evidence to say that the goal is over 82%? No, because 82% falls in that interval. There are some values in there that are higher than 82%, but the whole interval is not above 82%, so we cannot say that, okay? So we will write, since the hypothesized proportion of 82% is within this interval, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. And be careful on your wording. There is not strong enough evidence to say that over 82% of drivers in Massachusetts wear seatbelts, or that the goal was met.